Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to bring you on to talk about the Technical Institute and just inform people on what it is, what they can get out of it, and why you started the organization. And yeah, so they can make a decision to see if their kid might be a good fit to enroll.
All right, so there's a long answer that.
Well, let's just,
So
yeah, take your time. Take your time.
start at the beginning, right?
You guys
In
started,
2000,
yeah.
yeah, 2015. I'd taken my contract with the Houston Dynamo had run out, and so I moved on. And I was going to go to Finland with my wife. I'd taken a job at a club there. And then we found out my wife was pregnant with our first child, who incidentally is coming to TTI tomorrow. So it's a few years ago. And I just wasn't for the youth club system. I'm still not. I'm not sure that it really has overwhelming results for everyone. And I didn't see anything out there that gave kids another option, right? So
Tell me,
it's kind of like you.
because when I moved to Houston from Wisconsin, I wasn't aware of how competitive it was, how selective it could be. So this was an eye opener, as it is for other parents who are moving to this area. Like if you're coming from a small state or a small city, you
Yeah.
get a rude awakening once you get here.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a definitely a different landscape, right? We're a huge city. Um, there didn't seem to be much in the middle for me, right? So there wasn't. You have recreation, or you're in a club, and there didn't seem to be anything in between. And there are lots of really good players here, and then I feel like in any sport, too early on, kids are put into an A or a B or a C or a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and I don't know how great that is for a kid. I'm not saying it's wrong. It just wasn't our philosophy. And so, becoming a new parent, I realised how beholden my time was to everyone else around me. So the daycare only opens at this time, and if I want to go to the gym, I have to put my kid in an hour, at least 3 hours.
Oh my gosh,
And so I wanted to have a program that made sense for the parents as well.
Hey, sorry.
So
Let me try to sit down. So unprofessional. Sorry.
I'm waiting for my kids to run in the room. Yeah, so there didn't seem to be anywhere that the kids could sort of go at their leisure. Like, so they could have a personal trainer, but then I worried about like insurance issues. So a friend of mine that's now teaching at Tulane said to me, I coached his kid. He said, you should do this. And I did for a little bit.
He said you should do what?
Coaching kids, being involved with youth sports and being involved with small one-on-one sessions. But I just felt kids get more out of a smaller environment, right? So there's about eight or 10 kids, and you get quite a lot out of that. So then the model was just built around that. It was built around ease for people to get there. The other thing that I thought structurally didn't make sense was the amount of money that's spent that was after the fact, right? So we're going to a tournament, and so a friend of mine said to me, oh, my kids play volleyball and they're going to a tournament this weekend, and we didn't know until Monday. And I thought to myself, that's a lot of money to shell out with such short notice.
What kind of money?
Sure, the same. I mean, when you look at a tournament, right, you've got entry fees, hotel, travel, food, and all the rest of it. And that's the nature, I guess, of the geography as the state as well, right? You have to go a little ways to things. But For us, it was if we have a session a day that kids can come to. We use an application called TeamSnap. They just sign up. They can come or not come, up to them. But going back to the business structure, all of our camps are included. So, for example, June, July, and August, we're 8 till 12 in the morning every day, Monday through Friday. And that's included in your already paid fee as a member.
Mm-hmm.
So a little like a gym membership, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Or a daycare.
Yeah,
It's an
I prefer.
exercise. Is it monthly fees or is it weekly or how does that work?
No, so it's once a month. Yeah, we're once a month. We're a 3-month commitment, if you like, when you sign up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're after that we're month to month. You can sign up for 6 months, 9 months, or a year, and get a discount for that as well.
That's pretty good. I was reading on your website and it showed that you guys are open. What are your hours of operation? It seems like you were open from the morning all the way to the early evening.
Yeah, so right now we're in 2 campuses. In the summer, we all go to one campus. We're at the Aviva Stadium, which is where the Houston SaberCats Major League Rugby team play. So we're out there, which is just off of 288.
Mm-hmm.
And yep. So we're there all summer, 8 till 12. Going into the fall, we'll be on 2 campuses, Sunday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So every day there's a session.
That's nice. So your prices are very reasonable. Very
Thank
reasonable. So to be able to come and the kids can come as often as they want.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have part of the sort of philosophy is inclusivity, right? So going back to a little bit of what I was saying about structure of the clubs, and they're playing leagues, so they have to be competitive, so they put all the best kids on one team. What about the kid that loves it, that just might not be that good, but they want to play every day and they want to be available to learn, or they might just physiologically bloom later, or they might just, some kids are like a light switch, right? It goes off and they're good to go. So what happens to those kids is important. So I think for the most part, the clubs do a good job of it. I think there has to be other learning avenues. So for us, some kids do come every day,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't play for a club. They play for a high school, or they play for their middle school, and they'll come to us. And we've got kids that have represented their countries that come to us once, twice a week. A few months ago, we did a study, and most kids come. It's about 2.3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the cost is very, very reasonable for that.
Because it's only like at most a couple of $100, literally $200 per month if you're an older kid, and it's cheaper if you're younger, like under 13.
Yes, that's right. So we're $179 a month if you're under 13, and then we're $199 a month. The only extra thing in there is the uniform, which we do with Nike and Soccer.com. But even then, I think that's like $100.
Now, do they compete or is it just practicing?
Define competition.
Play a game, play for a championship.
No, there's no necessity. The clubs do a good job of that. That system already exists.
Oh, okay. Okay.
At many different levels. So our goal is to fit in between the clubs, right? So we want to, we want to be somewhere else that the players can come to get better.
Right.
Obviously, we have our own beliefs, right, and we have our own philosophies. For me, playing in a league doesn't really garner us anything. We do play friendly matches, but I don't believe in chronological age groups, right? So this morning we had a full game at camp in our session, and we had a couple of very talented 12-year-olds playing with college kids, and that's okay. I don't think that and even with intergender, it doesn't matter to me.
Very
You know,
cool. Very cool. I like that.
bit different.
Just like, you get a chance to play street ball
Yeah.
in a sense. The neighborhood kids just having fun. Now, your website also talked about there's 4 categories that kids can choose from, and they can kind of like figure out where their weaknesses are, and if they want to strengthen themselves in certain building blocks of soccer, they can
Yeah.
attend those different sessions. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So obviously we want to service our membership, right, as well as we can. And so we do specific 3-day camps throughout the year. Obviously, this is all a little bit, pre-COVID, but we would do, something just on striking for 3 days.
Okay.
We regularly bring in people from outside. So this week we have Ilyana Moshkas from US Soccer coming in to work with us, and couple of weeks' time we have Sam Snow, who's the former technical director for US Soccer, coming in. And I think all these voices and all these opinions really help kids to grow, right? And so, like myself and my staff, we're not frightened of opening ourselves up. We want people to come in to make players better. I think also we're able to do it the way we do it because we're coach in principles opposed to coach to a game. If you have a championship game, I don't care who you are. You can be Jose Mourinho or Bob Bradley, any coach in the world. You're going to want to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's 6-year-olds. You can't tell me you don't care because the competitive nature of human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So by taking that element out of it, where you have to win on the Saturday or Sunday, because it's your social standing as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you take that out of it, you can break down. This is what you should do here.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we play this way. So different places call it different things, the DNA or the way of doing it. We teach very much within principles and space. So, if you're in the right spaces, it might not matter as much how quick you are. If you're in the right place at the right time and you can foresee things, it might not matter how strong you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. We had a young lady this morning, 13, and she's playing as a centre forward against one young lady that's going to go off and play in college next year, and a young man that's played in high school and plays at a high level of club. So she couldn't figure out how to beat them. And she says, Lee, I'm upset. I can't win the ball. I can't touch it. They're too good. They're too quick. They're too strong. They're too big. And my reply was, well, you're not supposed to, are you? Because they're bigger, stronger, quicker, better, been in the program longer. You have to figure out a way of doing it. So by coaching to help, typically this is called sort of guided discovery, right? But by coaching the player to engage mentally in what they're doing. So not thinking in terms of a drill, but thinking in terms of real-time play.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to win it against a kid that's going to a Division 1 college kid. But if you play against another player that is your age, you will find another way of beating that player. Mm-hmm. And eventually she did. So there's a nice little story from this morning, but I think that too much emphasis is placed on winning and losing.
She beat the 2 players that she was up against, the 2 older kids?
No, she struggled there, but she did well against her peers. Yeah. Yeah. We tell our older players, you didn't want the older players to give you a chance 5 years ago, so you don't give them a chance now. We work hard to make them better. Don't go easy on them.
Right. So tell me about your coaching staff. Is it made up of volunteers?
No. Everyone's we're full time. We provide them. We're a mix of full time and part time. We have a full-time sports scientist. We have 2 full-time coaches, and we are hiring somebody and to look after all our outreach in the community, advertising, marketing, and she's a former player with us. So our staff are dedicated to this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that in the years past, we've maybe not spent as much time on the football as we should have. But now we're really focused on how good the sessions are, how the kids are getting out of it, why they're getting things out of it, what's best, and how can we go forwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I was reading that each coach was responsible for coming up with their own development plans. Is that the case? They're assigned a certain. I didn't understand if I brought my son or daughter, she would get her own development plan on where she's trying to be, and I could use my own strategies as a professional to help get her there. Or is it uniform?
A bit of both, really. It's collaborative. So our staff are dedicated to the player, right? But not just the player. That this isn't their job, right? So even if they're on the national team, not their
not the player. Yeah, the coach, not the player. Right. Yes.
Coach is definitely their
Yeah.
job.
Right. Yeah.
So for the player, it's more to enjoy playing, enjoy that piece of it, because it's so very, very important. And I think that gets lost in sports in general, right? And if you don't enjoy it, you won't be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no chance of you ever being good at it. And I think that gets lost in the winning to losing conundrum. So with our staff, we try to be very. Our job is to make the player better. Mm-hmm. So whatever that is, and sometimes it creates brutal honesty. We don't think you're good enough to do this, and here's why. And sometimes it's no matter how much you work on this, you're still not going to be able to ascertain that goal. So let's look at it. I think the biggest thing is that we have an issue in youth sports of working forward in small increments. And so when you're looking at the game at the weekend, that's how far you're looking. So in your whole development stratosphere, you're worried about winning that game on Saturday. And then you start that cycle over again. We won on Saturday. Now we have to play the champions of whatever, right? But we don't work backwards enough. What do you want out of football? Well, I want to be a professional. For how long? How long are you willing to be a professional player for? I don't know, 10 years. Okay, great. So that puts you at 30 odd years old. How do we get there? Not how do we get to the game at the weekend, but how do we get there? And that's going to have so many great things in the way. I'd be amiss not to mention Marlene Camper. And so Marlene played for me. She's a San Antonio kid, but spent her time at TSU in Houston. Mm-hmm. And this kid was told no so many times. And she has now played in 3 different countries. Mm-hmm. She now plays for Club America in Mexico. And I think she's a great example of working backwards. If she had worked forwards week by week, she would have given up a long time ago. And she scored a goal on TV the other day. And I just think I think she will play in the next World Cup for Mexico. And had that not been her goal, we wouldn't have got all those things in between, which are just valuable life experience as well, right? You know, I can't express how upset I get every spring on social media with kids saying, soccer's over now. I've finished my college career. I'm done with soccer. Then why do it in the first place? It should be something that stays with you even if it's for the assets of just sport, right? Teamwork, being an individual member of a team, being able to collaborate, being able to work, being able to be motivated, all things you need in a professional workplace. So I think those things are super important.
Right.
I think that to work backwards, we regularly have people tell us, if my kid could just, cross with their left foot from 50 yards, they'd be the perfect player. So a long way around of coming back to your question is, yes, there's an individual plan, but really it's continuing to enjoy it and love it, right? Understanding and being technically literate, understanding space, and being competitive, internally and externally. With those things, it doesn't matter where you play; you'll always be successful.
No, that's good. I was reading, it said something about you have a heart monitoring system for your players. How does that come into play?
Information, right? So I had a conversation, I won't say with who, but a prominent local coach. And they said, the parents, they're just stupid. And I thought to myself, if you think the parents are stupid, you're way behind. Because we now have a generation of parents that have played at a high level, that now have kids that are playing at a high level. They're not stupid. They know more than ever. And the more you try to pull the wool over their eyes, the shorter your career is going to be. It's not what it was in the United States 20 years ago. People have got real knowledge, real grasp. They played, they've coached, and they understand the intricacies of the game. So I think that everything has to be collaborative, right? Does that make sense in answer to your question?
Well, I still don't know. Heart monitors are it's a gadget that monitor the kid's heart. So does that play with their endurance, or you push them too hard or not hard enough?
The more information you can give, that is definitive. Sorry, my apologies. I went off on a tangent.
That was good information, though.
The best. So if I can present, we use heart rate monitors. We also use GPS systems. So the heart rate monitor will give you, for want of a better way of putting it, how fit you are based to you, right? So when you get, the diagram and you see the squiggly line, what you want on a heart rate monitor is it to be tall mountains and steep hills, right? Steep valleys, which shows your recovery. And so getting that sort of information and being able to give it to a parent is good to have. So if our session is hard and you don't seem to think it's hard, it might be you're just lazy, but it might be that you're way fitter than that session was, right? And that depends on kid to kid. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
From kid to kid, player to player. The GPS systems give you your movements, how fast you went, where you went, gives you a heat map of where you played. So that information's more tangible even for a layman, right? You can say you didn't move much because I see your heat map, right? And conversely, you can see a lot when people are working way too hard, right? So all that data is really important. And the other data that we're looking at the moment is our perceived rate of exertion. So Raquel, you might be working out and you might come off and you might say, Lee, that was the hardest session I've ever had. And I'm looking and you're marking yourself as a 5 in the red, you're exhausted. And I look at the GPS and I say, she must be kidding. She never moved. So now we can correlate data with emotion and talk to the player. We
Mm-hmm.
find more often than not players are working unnecessarily hard physiologically. So we give that information to the players. That was the short answer. We give that information. It's a deliverable that's useful.
Okay. Now, do you help with placing kids on teams that you feel like would be a good fit for them?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah, 100%. So the first thing we look at is the geography. So if you live, I don't know if I'm allowed to use the club names.
Yeah,
I'm going,
you can.
and if they want to call me, they can call
I
me.
mean, you're not
Uh,
saying anything negative.
no. So if you live in the South, we'd probably say, have you tried the Houston Dash program? If you live in the North, we would say, have you tried Challenge? And if you live in the West, have you tried Albion? Our membership is pretty evenly made up for the kids that play club of kids from those three clubs. And so that's nice too, right? So kids that never normally see each other get to collaborate and get to see each other. So we will help a kid. I mean, right now it's kind of tryout time, so a lot of kids come to us. I mean, I was joking yesterday with a parent and saying, we're sort of a soccer therapist, right? Like you can come to us and trust us, and there's we steer to what we think is best for that player.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it's pretty evened out. We don't tell we certainly don't really demand and push, and we our connection with the clubs is all positive all around
Mm-hmm.
from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good. We talk to all the coaches, all the clubs. I don't know what they would say about us. I guess they like us. We talk to them.
Okay, so does it end there, or do you get involved with college recruitment or anything like that? Help them? Do you ever get college coaches asking you about your players? I mean, these players will probably more or less talk with the coaches, not necessarily the trainers, because you would be considered their soccer trainer, right? Would that be correct?
I don't know. I think we're just their coach.
Okay. But do
We
you
see
get
it.
involved with recruitment as well? Do you
Yeah.
help them get
Yeah.
to different colleges?
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we've got a ton of kids. We've got a young lady that that is going off to American university on a full ride this year that I'm really proud of. She's been great over the years. We've got kids placed. I didn't say placed. I say we help them. Kentucky, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I could keep going. St. Louis. I guess our Southwestern, Northwestern, SMU. So we've had kids go everywhere.
So do these
Um,
kids only play for you, or is it a mixture? Those who only, well, let me ask it this way. Are some of them only members of the TTI, or are all of these kids that did get recruited a part of a team as well?
I would say 90% are part of the team as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we'll work with that coach.
Mm-hmm.
We frequently speak to them about players, and sometimes it might be, oh, this kid has mentioned they want to go to Stanford. Is that, you think that's possible for them, or
Mm-hmm.
something so that the voices are unified, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll call whoever we need to call. We'll send film to whoever we need to send film to. I'll email whoever I need. I mean, everything comes back to the player, right? So we guide them as much as we can. Ultimately, the top level players playing in the ECNL or the Girls Academy League are, they're kind of taken care of because they're playing in front of a lot of good college coaches every weekend, right? So there's opportunities for them to get seen at that level. I think I would sure like to see Houston players stay in Houston. Would be my personal opinion. So we always say that, like, what about U of H or HBU? You know, what about these schools, right? St. Thomas, you know, why not go play there, right? Because I want to keep our talent in Houston. Maybe that's selfish, right? But you know, at the same time, we ask 3 questions of kids that want to play in college. What climate do you like? Do you mind being a plane ride away? And do you want to stay in state? Because before you ask those questions, it's such a mess. If, for example, if you don't like the cold, that full ride at University of Minnesota isn't any good for you, right? And I think that gets overlooked. Once you are on a plane, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, really, right? So there are these things that are important. And a lot of kids want to stay in Texas. And I think that, you know, I like that, right? Like I love Texas, so I want our kids to stay here. So you know, so we work closely. We bring college coaches in to work with the players. The laws do change with the NCAA from time to time, but it's something that we do, right? It's exposure. Talk to them. It's a mess, man. I mean, it is hard for those colleges, but like I said, we've got kids. I'm trying to think about Oklahoma State, North Texas, Corpus Christi A&M, you know, UT Dallas. So we've had kids go everywhere, and we're happy to talk to whoever we need to talk to. Most clubs have somebody in a position that that's their job, if that makes sense.
So with the summer coming up and everybody getting back involved with sports, so those kids who aren't on a team, they don't have to worry about trying out because everybody is welcome at the TTI.
Yeah.
They just sign up. When do signups open?
Like right now, dude.
Okay, so you guys are currently
yeah, we're open. So what we try to do right now through the summer, it sign up for 6 months or week by week. But because what we have is obviously we have an influx of players in the summer, and we didn't feel like that was fair on our current membership. So that's why it is the way it is for right now. For later on, for most of the year, it's yes, sign up when you want to sign up. We're honest. I don't think we've ever turned a kid away. We try to incorporate them. We're honest with kids of lesser ability or are really new to the sport. We kind of help them to, we're saying this is going to be tough, but you'll get it. And we've had so many success stories out of that. We were talking about, he's a young kid, so I won't use his name, but he moved back to Wisconsin, and he was with us, and he was with us for a year, and the transformation just in him was pretty incredible. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I want to have my son come during the summer. He's been talking about soccer, but he's been out of it for a couple years because he was trying other sports. But
yeah,
finally said he wanted to do it again. And I'm just like, well, how realistic? And you want to be honest with your kids. I'm just like, I don't know if you really make the team for high school. He's going into high school now, but this gives him a chance to see if he can make the team by coming with you the whole summer. If we can commit to making sure he can be there the whole summer, there's a chance he can make the team. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah, we have. We've had kids come in and look at it and go, "Oh my goodness! Like, no, this isn't what I want," and that's fine. And we've had kids come in and stick it out and get what they want out of it, right? So we.
Are there any other partnerships you have with different organizations in the community? I know you guys have sponsors, but is there any other organizations that you guys work with through the year?
Yeah, so first off, our major sponsors, AJI Construction, and without them, we wouldn't be where we are. We've also had a private sponsor who wishes to remain anonymous. We likely wouldn't have made it through our second year without that person either. So those two are have been massive for us in terms of sponsorship. Our partners, we recently partnered with Sagis, and the head director of Sagis, Dr. John Cangalosi, is on the board of a charity called A Children's House for the Soul, that deals with it's a non-for-profit that deals with children that have skin diseases. And I would leave it to them to explain what they do far more articulately than me. But we plan to do things with them as part of community outreach. And also just as, why not, right? Like, we're looking at different ways of getting into the community and helping. So John Cangalosi has been good with us, and that's been a great partnership. And then other than that, we've partnered with some of the people that own small businesses have been kind to us. We have CDO advisors, BJ's Park and Rec, and those things are great, right? Like that sort of community support, and obviously they for the most part have kids with us as well, which is great because they're willing to spend a bit more money with us. But
you're doing right. When your clients are going out of their way to make sure that you guys stay in business, that says everything.
Yeah, and look, like, I make no secret of this. We've got good people, and I'm really proud of that. We've got people that when COVID hit, we, like any other small business, were, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I have a family, right? I'm not a soccer coach in a one-room apartment, and it worries you. And we had like an outpouring of support on so many levels and in so many facets. It was truly overwhelming.
Wow.
Everything from a donation financially to babysitting and things like that. So I think when people say, I've always felt it's trite of people say, oh, we're like a family. I've never felt more like a family than I have through all of this, because we've been able to survive. We've been able to pay our staff 100%.
Wow.
Their salaries. We've been able to operate. We have had people that have completely understood the situation and worked with us. And I think for me, it was really humbling. Really humbling to see that we must have made some difference, and that's why we do it, right? So, for those reasons, I would, we are onwards and upwards here. I mean, we're really pleased to be where we are. We've got, you talked about partnerships. Like I said, we had an anonymous donor that there was no need for them to do what they did. And you find out the backstory that you've helped their kid, and that for me is what we do it for, right? So it's important.
So is there anything else you want people to know?
I think that if you look at our small history, we're kind of interesting. We had a semi-professional women's team for a few years. A lot of those players went on to play professionally, even with the Houston Dash, as well as Sky Blue Football Club, and then all over the world. We've had players represent us in the Champions League. No, I think that all I would say is, if you're interested in football or you're a current player that's looking for something more, that we might be a good stop for you. We're busy. We're a small staff, but we're industrious. We work hard. But I'd love to connect more, especially with the community in Pearland. I think they're an underserved community for football. And and we're just right down the road, and we have a lot of kids that are from that area, and come to that campus, and that's growing. But we're not looking to be a multinational conglomerate. We're quite happy. We'd like to get to a couple of hundred kids and help service them. So yeah, no, but we're open, right? Any questions can certainly come to me.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Lee, for, sharing all this good, rich information with us. I mean, I, am more engaged now. Definitely have a better understanding, and we've been doing business for a couple years now.
Yeah.
But finally getting a different perspective, more inside look. Definitely, like I said, I didn't think my kid would even qualify to be a part of your organization. So this is good news. Your pricing is right on point. And I think you guys offer a tremendous service for people who get moved out of, squeezed out of the select box sometimes, and want something more competitive than the rec level. I mean, you guys really are that spot where everybody can come and get the competition they're looking for. They can get that individual attention that they're looking for, get the fun that they're looking for, pay the price that they're looking for, and have the flexibility in scheduling that they're looking for. So, and then, I mean, you can't beat the fact that you don't have to travel to get all of these benefits. And then what's icing on the cake is that they're being taught by professionals. I mean, you guys are bringing people in from all over, professional folks to teach these kids. And then you yourself, I mean, the staff is top quality. So it's really a bargain beyond, I mean, it's just a value. It's what every parent wants. So I'm so glad that you guys are here next door, probably about 10 minutes from where I live. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having him come. And once again, thank you so much for what you do. And thank you for sharing everything about your company and your team.
Hey, appreciate you said it really well there. That's exactly what we are. So thank you ever so much.
When it comes from your heart, you can spit it out like that. So thank you again, Lee. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And I'll be talking to you again soon.
Cheers. Thank you, Raquel.